Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trust Me, Bro. My name is Ryan. With me is Yakuza, and this is a show that talks about the latest news, culture, and collects on the Lens protocol. Yakuza, how you doing today?
What's up, everyone?
Hey, what's up?
I am Yakuza, and welcome to the first ever Trust Me Bro show. Yes, I'm good, Ryan. What about yourself?
Doing great. Doing great. About half a beer in, and life is great.
Yeah, it's too hot here, mate. So guess what? I'm having a beer.
Yeah, I'm drinking something called broccoli. There's a New York brewery called Other Half. Broccoli is something that I waited in line for forever. Like I think I waited like 6 hours in line when the beer first came out. And now it's like their most made beer and it's just like a classic. It's a staple. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just start off with something solid here. And so that's what I got going. What are you doing?
Actually, at home, enjoying a Kozel. A Kozel is a Czech lager beer produced since 1874, mate. These guys here don't mess around making beer. So yeah, I'm based in Prague, as you know, but most of the people probably don't know. So I'm currently at home. Where you at
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. So I'm in East Coast US, between Philly and New York. And so that's why I went with the New York beer. Do you want to explain to people what this is, what it is that we're actually doing here?
Of course. So what the hell is Trust Me Bro? And what are we cooking? So we are starting a weekly spaces hosted live on Buttrfly Spaces. Like now, we are planning to do this every Tuesday for now, and we will record it and wrap it up and turn it into a podcast. Mostly we'll talk about the latest on lands, but also about Web3 and AI in general. While enjoying some beers. Is what I'm enjoying now.
There you go. And yeah, I think there's something very eh, I'm very interested by the name here that we chose because at first it's an overused phrase, obviously, and it's one that comes with like zero trust because obviously every scammer uses this or whatever. And so I feel like we're really going to play with the word trust a lot here. And we're going to ask the audience to trust us because we understand the optics of, an outsider might look at this podcast and go, really, are these the people we need to gatekeep content? And all I'm going to do in the beginning here is just ask that you trust us because we have a much bigger plan than it will appear at first. And we're going to play around with building your trust, earning your trust, and hopefully all together with us and the community, we can build up a reputation that outsiders can then look at and measure and understand. And it can really help our entire platform here. So, yeah, everything we're going to do here is really with Lens in mind and with creators in mind. And don't take these first couple episodes as the strict format for the show because this will evolve. And hopefully in 6 months, this looks like a different show. And in a year from now, this should look totally different. So I do hope that everyone just gives us a little benefit of the doubt and trusts us and watches what we do. And if anyone wants to copy us and do their own thing, we are more than happy to help everybody. So that's what we're here for, to empower the whole community. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to pick out interesting posts, interesting collects that we've seen on Lens, whatever people are talking about. So I guess we should really get into the first story here, which is what everybody is talking about, which is FriendTech. Yakuza, do you want to talk about FriendTech for a little bit?
Okay, it became huge in the Web3 space. I'm not sure if I can call it Web3 space, but let's talk about FriendTech. So what are they cooking? So FriendTech is the new social media app riding on base. And they're allowing users to tokenize their friends' profiles. So basically, they create shares. Now they call it Key since yesterday for personalities creators from X, Twitter. At the moment, it's invite only. Then you can buy shares from anyone in the app. The more people buy shares of someone, the more that person shares wars. Basically, there's a 10% fee when trading shares. 5% of the fees goes to the person and 5% to FriendTech Treasury. I couldn't find where is this treasury sitting in. But as all the most normal applications or things in Web3, they just launched 12 days ago and bam, just got some big Twitter accounts joining in. And within 24 hours, FriendTech generated more fees than Bitcoin, Uniswap, and BSC combined. Ryan, what's your take on this?
Yeah, basically, like, I don't hate this. Okay. I think they've done a lot of good with tech, the PWA, the progressive web app, having a wallet built into it, having notifications, like all of that is great and moving things forward. Um, I think just based on the fact that they called them shares at the beginning, that seems to me like they've figured they were very hooked on the idea of people issuing shares of themselves and they didn't know how to back it. And so then they just like slapped on a chat room there. And so that felt very wrong to me. Like, I feel like you could do that with anything. And to tokenize yourself without any kind of backing is really, I don't know if that's healthy. And so I've stayed away from it. Like, I've looked at it, but I've not joined, I've not traded any shares or anything like that. Now, the fact that they called them keys yesterday, I think that's a good first step towards making this a legit thing. I still don't know if it's going to succeed or not, but I think if they enable people to back the shares with a bunch of things, so if they enable more things than just a chat room in the app, if they provide 10 things or 100 things, different perks that the issuer can back their token with or back their key with, and maybe there's even more keys, I think that would be great. And I think they also, in order to really succeed, I think they need to get rid of or make the bonding curve optional, because that can be way too expensive for every application there. But it's a very divisive app. It's a very divisive issue because it is kind of the same thing we've been doing, but now it's done in such a direct way that's backed by literally nothing other than whatever the issuer wants to back it by. And most people are not backing it by anything. So I don't know. The tech is very impressive. I hope for the whole community's sake that, they move quickly on this and add a bunch of different features into the app that make it more legitimate. And if they do that, I'm more than happy to take a look and, maybe I'll sign up. But for right now, if it's just shares backed by nothing, I really can't promote that or, I don't want to be involved in that because, as we do it on Lens, it's like we're investing in each other's work and doing so, it incentivizes more work. So I don't know how that translate. I mean, FriendTech has nothing. It's just kind of a chat room. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Well, have you tried it out? Have you played
no,
around?
I haven't tried it, but I've read and spoken to people who tried it. And during the investigation I've done, going down the rabbit hole, I was trying to find out what's the backstory. There's not much I could find out about, but they raised 50 million. The Series A round with Paradigm introducing the token warrant. They're talking about an airdrop strategy, including real points, program for the early birds, which I saw that they launched or they released the first points yesterday or 2 days ago. And the points have been dropped already. I dropped 2 days ago. But I don't understand what's the point, why it matters. Yeah, we got earning points. We can buy and trade shares and generate points. We can share a unique referral code also to earn points. But I think it's a mix of opportunities and risks. Holding in shares, bringing fees and boost transactions, but people need to be careful with the shares value changes because this is like, I don't trust and I should get involved a little bit more to try to understand. But to get involved, we need to qualify. We need to set up a friend tech account, download the app. It's not an Apple app. It's you download it via Safari and log in with Twitter. You find your base wallet, you create a base wallet, and then you can buy shares. What's the utility?
Right. How do you back that? And so far, all they're doing is kind of loosely having a chat room there. it's kind of, even the chat room itself is kind of weird, but um,
Yeah,
yeah, they need more features. They need more things that users can back the shares with.
you can have a private chat person you have shares from. You can message him private, but their replies go to all the shareholders. What the fuck?
Yeah, and to be clear, like you can make a lot of money on this. Like I'm not saying don't check it out. Like if you want to gamble and potentially make a lot of money, like I'm all for it. Go ahead. We're all gambling with a lot of things in Web3, and that part I don't really have an issue. I just um I'm not into gambling for this right now. So that's all.
Yeah. Funny thing is that, David Hoffman from Bankless, he got almost 1.58 in his revenues. But you know what he's doing? He's planning to raffle it to one of his shareholders. And I think he has done it last weekend. I couldn't find any other information about that, but that's a good use case. So,
It is. And so is Anthony Sassano is donating it to public goods. So some people are, and I will say the bankless guys are straight up saying, yeah, this is a Ponzi. Like they're promoting it, but they're also saying very clearly it's a Ponzi. There's nothing backing this and we're donating the money. So I feel like that's a good, happy middle ground right there until it goes either way. It's either going to implode or, they add more features.
I think most of the hype is because they are built on days. Some people had good gains within days. For some of the members, of course, like the top Twitter, now X accounts, but there are a lot of red flags.
But you know what? It's good for adoption. It's good for base. I'm really happy to see the base chain take off. I really think they're going to be one of the more dominant chains because that can be the front door for a lot of people to come in and then learn about it. And then they can move elsewhere. And, I'm very happy about that. Kind of related to that is the next story, which is Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase. He posted to Lens. He said 8 days ago, "Hello world," very classic. And I think it's just there's not much here to the story, but I just wanted to mark this as, it's an important point where one of the biggest crypto companies has come into Lens and they're kicking the tires. They're checking it out. They're looking at it. They understand what this is about and how to integrate Lens with space. And I think it's a really cool thing that, he doesn't have to be in here, and yet here he is. And I'm assuming it's legit because Stani and the whole Lens team have welcomed him. So pretty sure it's him. And I just think that's a really, really good moment for the industry as a whole, that we're all kind of moving along together here.
I was Brian's second follower. So let's see. If it'd be like on the other one, like FriendTech, maybe I'll get some perks, but I don't think so. But
No, I
that's a
don't
good
think so
idea for
either.
land. That's a good idea for land. And actually, I think last night or today, Stani challenged why we are not doing this on lands. What's your take on this?
Oh yeah. I mean, look, it's open data, so anybody could come in here and use this information. I'm like number one or number two on quite a few people as their follower. And it doesn't mean anything right now, but it could. Someone looking back could go, oh, these are the first 100 people that followed me. They could do something nice or they could use that information somehow. I think, and anybody could build an app which uses that information too. I think that's what's so fascinating, that you really don't know what is going to be built. And what's really different this time, it's not just open, but the time factor here is just mind blowing because the data that we're creating today could be used 50 years from now. You don't know how people are going to look back and then reuse this data over and over and over again. So for the rest of time, it's pretty fascinating what could be done with the data that you're creating today. And that's the kind of stuff that just like, it makes my head hurt.
Yeah, fully agree with you. What's next then?
And what's next is you got a story about Lenster.
Well, let's go back to the roots. So lenster.lens is the number one GitHub repo in Web3 category. Shout out to Yogins. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the right way, but he's rocking in his team. So what they are doing, Lenster has climbed to the number one spot in GitHub's Web3 category, earning 21K stars. Man, this is sick. This achievement puts Lenster ahead of well-known projects like Ethereum Book, Armstrong, and even MetaMask extension. What can we say about this?
It's a great achievement here. I mean, I have the GitHub open and it is number one in Web3. And it is also bigger than Web3 JS and it's bigger than Ethers JS, which that's super nerdy. No one has to know about that. But I'll explain it as this. If you want to build a Web3 app and you want to connect a wallet, you need to import these things. And Lenster is ahead of everything as far as the reputation, the number of stars that it has. And yeah, I also say Yogint, although I see on Twitter he's Yogi Codes. So I'm not sure if it's Yogi, Yogint. I just say Yogint. But he does such a fantastic job with Lenster. But then it's also important to note that it is not just him. There are 88 people that have contributed to Lenster, and he's obviously the head of that, but 88 people collectively have done this. So that is a really impressive achievement. And yeah, it's a public good. It is incredible what the community has built, what Yogint has really spearheaded here. And I think we're all grateful for what is achieved out of this. And you see, he's constantly pushing forward. Like now there's new algorithm choice in there. And there's just there's a lot of innovation going on here. And the beautiful thing about this as well, if you don't know what GitHub is, I should probably explain. GitHub is just this, it's a website where anybody can post the code for their project. So anybody could build an app. And then if you post the code, you can allow other people to use that code as well. That's what we call open source. So anybody can take your code, improve it, modify it, or whatever. And we've already seen that with the quadratic Lenster, I think it was called, where someone just copied the entire app, but then added a funding mechanism that only lasted for like a couple of weeks. But it's a great use case where you can just copy an app and then modify it for exactly what you need to do. And we were all like funding different projects using that app, but it's still like, that's just copying the original. And that's a really powerful thing that can be used over and over and over again. So it's really impressive to see just how powerful this app is. And, again, we're just super thankful to Yogint and Nader and the whole team. Really, it's incredible.
Yeah, and did you know that Lenster was created by Yogins and his team back in March last year? So 1.5 years ago, during their virtual hackathon at the Let's Freaking Go event. So man, that's where all this shit began. And yeah, they were just showing that they were like 1.5 years ahead from us.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a lot of innovation in such a short period of time. And also, as we've seen other teams here, there are teams of one or two people also that have done incredible things. And it really speaks to the power of Lens itself, what you can accomplish. And the more that people add to this, the faster you can build things and the more you can build and just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, so that's not a surprise that for anyone that being the first Web3 social app built on Lens, Lenster stands as the most widely used app with nearly 60% of users engaging with it. However, they are pushing apps like Buttrfly or and many others to come and build on the space. What do you think about that? This diversity that we have in the space.
Yeah, that's the whole point here, that we can all do our own thing and yet we can share code, we can share values, we can share a lot of things and just keep building off of each other. And, that's what makes this place so great. So it's really such a great team, such a great project that we all benefit from, even if you don't use Lenster, but I would bet you probably do because the stats bear that out. we all owe so much to everybody contributing to that. And good for them for being top of the category, 21,000 stars, well ahead of everything else. So that's really impressive.
Just to wrap up, they started to build the path for decentralization and ownership. So there's no centralized control. So the posts remain public and protected. And unless you lose your lens handle, there's no way you can be kicked out from the Lenster or from Lens, like I've done, like I've been kicked out 2 times already.
I was going to, I was going to joke about that, man. Yeah, like
Yeah.
come
No,
on,
no.
like oh yeah, who would ever lose their lens handle?
Yeah, me 2 times. Yeah. But yeah, it was my fault. So anyway, let's move on. And I'm really sad that Jess is not here. She's enjoying a good time in Portugal, my home country. I was just messaging with her, but we need to. You want to say something about FriesGPT?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Jessie Fries. Many of you probably know her. She's building this thing called FriesGPT, and man, am I excited about this. So she posted recently some screenshots of a conversation she had where she asked FriesGPT, I'm busy at the moment, I'm traveling, blah, blah, blah. Can you please update me on Christina's content on Lens? And FriesGPT responded with the 5 most recent posts by Christina, and it provided the text and provided the link.
So we need to make a partnership with Jesse because this is going to help us a lot
Well,
to
let's
summarize
let's
our
let's see here.
to sum up
Let's
our
not,
content.
I will say this: she is not the only one doing this. I've seen others, and I can't say anything, but there are others coming on board doing this, and so that's why I wanted to highlight this. It's because we're about to enter an era with social where we're going to talk to the social feed, which is really different than just endlessly, mindlessly scrolling and, maybe switching algorithms or whatever. This is now going to be a very interactive feed where you can say things like, who's talking about food or who's talking about Tokyo? Cause I have a trip coming up and I want to know what the latest bars are there or whatever. Like this is going to become a very interactive social network in ways that I think, people on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, it's going to take them a lot longer to catch up because those big companies are going to be nervous and trying to figure out the legalities of how to implement this stuff. And yet here we are just kind of blown past them where anybody at any level can really just now hook up some kind of AI to the data. And I think, 6 months from now or a year from now, this social network is going to look totally different than how we're using it right now. Have you tried FriesGPT at all?
No, no, no. I think it's private and only the community from Jesse they can access it to it. But yeah, I've tried to play around with some other AI tools.
You've
But
used
yeah,
ChatGPT?
yes, I use that, but it doesn't work on Lens properly. So I would like to understand how the team from Jesse's is working around that. But yeah, we can have her here in probably another space.
Yeah, I'm dying to know. I have not talked to her about any behind the scenes tech or whatever. I'm just an observer watching, and I'm dying to know how she's integrating this stuff. I know the team that she's working with, but again, like I haven't talked to them or whatever. But it's very fascinating to see her. And like I said, I've seen a couple others that I can't talk about yet that are doing the same thing. And it's really wild that like we're in this moment that is about to just explode with AI. So I'm super happy about it.
Cool, cool. Next up, there was some new nice features coming up over the last days. Lens wallet. And actually, Ryan built our lens wallet. So basically, I got the lens handle, Ryan got the ENS domain, and then you created our lens wallet. Can you talk us through the process? How did you do that?
Sure. So real quick about this, the way this works is again, like we're trying to build trust with the community, but we're also trying to build trust with each other, Yakuza and I. So I have the ENS and he has the lens profile. And what we've done is the lens profile itself now has its own wallet. And so you can store anything in there. So everything that this show is going to build with the community will be stored in the lens profile itself. And then we can break those out and we can send other things, which we'll explain a little bit later.
Are we building a business or trying to do something on land using the Matryoshka technique? I don't know if you're familiar with
yeah.
Matryoshka is.
Do you want to explain it?
So Matryoshka are those dolls made of wood that originally they come from Russia or from that part of the world. And then you've got a doll made of wood inside another one, then a smaller one, then a smaller one, then a smaller one.
That's exactly, like a nesting doll or like folders on your desktop computer. Like
Exactly.
it's just making a folder for your NFT. And so the profile, the lens profile for Trust Me Bro has its own wallet and we're going to store things inside of that. But what's important about this post here from Lenspeer was a team that it might even just be one person that built this in a hackathon a couple weeks ago. And now it looks like, I don't know what their plans are for Lenspeer, but they're building this wallet called Lens Wallet. And it is an app that basically, it'll be just like MetaMask or Rainbow, except your lens profile is the top level of that. And so everything is all the money, all the collects, everything goes inside of all of that. And it all gets stored inside your lens profile itself, which is really cool, really powerful. And especially if you're going to build a business or build other characters or other personas, it's really powerful to store everything inside of an NFT, which again, it's just like folders on your desktop. You're just putting a whole bunch of data together in one spot, and then you can easily transfer it. You can monetize it. You can do all kinds of things. So piggybacking off of this, Galverse is here on Lens, and they are a universe of gals. And it's more than a profile picture project. They are building an anime. They were just recently featured in a Tove Lo music video. They seem to be pretty legit and with a great community. And I literally just joined them the other day, but I've been following them for like more than a year. But the other day they posted on Twitter a very nice video explaining that all of their gals, everyone that has one of their NFTs, those are all getting wallets and the gals will hold all of their own items, just like we explained with our lens profile. The gals in the Galverse are going to do the exact same thing. And they featured Lens in that video. And they specifically said, like, your gal is going to have its own lens profile and will own everything. So basically, this is all tied together where you're going to be able to have something like Lens Wallet manage your whole, not just your profile, but like the whole persona, all of the assets, all of the content that you've created, all within one NFT. And then you can build that up and you can sell it, trade it, do whatever it is that you want to do with NFTs, all within one actual character. And so this is, it's more powerful than I think people are giving credit to right now. And I think it's really just going to take seeing some apps that actually utilize this for it to click with people. But yeah, it's super exciting to see that. Super exciting to see Galverse, repping Lens there. And they're very good with like pushing things forward and finding new tech. They have a great team. And yeah, I can't wait to see, like I said, like I bought one the other day just because they're doing this. So I'm like, all right, well, if this comes out and then I want to see how they're using Lens, like I want to do it. I want to get in there and test it out. So, I can't wait for this. Should be soon. Have you checked out Galverse at all? Have you seen any of their videos or anything?
Sure, I had to do some work because you have done a massive and amazing work around this. But my question is, would we be able at some point to just share this profile and become like our center of the business? Like right now, I understand that we've got the lens angle there and you've got the ENS address or name also in there. They're both connected, but we can't work at the same time in the account. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That is totally up to us. All we have to do is either share the same wallet or we can put it in multi-sig wallet so that both of us have access to it with our own signatures. That's just, I mean, we'll be doing that soon. We just haven't done it yet because we haven't built anything yet. So I think once we have some actual value here, then we start moving into that territory. But yeah, you can absolutely have like a community wallet, which owns a token, and then you can have the output of the community, whatever the community wants to build. You can store all of that in the one token, which means then you can take that to, again, like you could monetize it. You could charge an AI company to use that data. You could use it in other apps. Like it's just infinite possibilities there.
That's cool. So let's wait to have something to put in there. And I think we can move up to the next topic. We are supposed to have a poll of the lens art of the week, but we had some thoughts around it and we decided to make something different because polls, who is the best of the week, who is the best of this and that, it's quite common and it doesn't show who is in the background, who has low followers. So what we're planning to do is make a post inviting everyone to share their art in the comments. Please show us your art. That can be all forms of art, like photos, paintings, music, video creations, and of course, memes. Then the comment that will get the most likes will win. This post will be collectible and the revenue generated from the collects goes straight to the winner. Why? Because every artist needs to get the chance to shine. This is why we are here. That's why also our name is Trust Me Bro. We need to give trust to the people who don't have any followers and they have got massive content, but they simply are new on the platform and they just need like a boost. So this process will be totally transparent and shared with everyone. So trust me, bro.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So again, we're going to make a post because if we just do artist of the week and everybody votes on their favorite artist, whatever, that's really just a popularity contest of who can network the best, who has more visibility, and the same people will win over and over and over. And again, like Yakuza said, anybody can do that kind of poll. And so what we'll do is we'll have that post and anybody can comment a post. Like if you go out and you see, oh, so and so did this really great piece of art, just put it in the comment. Make a comment with the link to that collectible, and whoever gets the most likes at the end of the week, we will purchase that piece of art, and we will use the funds from that post. We'll create a gallery, and we will have names for names and recognition for everybody involved. So if you discovered some artist and you discovered their one piece of art and they only have 5 followers, but it's a great piece, you commented it and everybody thought that that was the winner. So we buy it. When it gets displayed, your name will also be there as well. So the whole community really has a say in this. They get recognition. And basically the idea is to just promote the best work itself, not just who can network the best. This is more about what are the more interesting pieces of art. And again, it can be anything. And the plan is a couple months from now, let's say like at the end of a season, and we don't know what that is yet, but let's say it's December and we've now had weeks and weeks of buying art and putting it into a collection. At the end of that season, all of that art, that whole gallery is stored in one NFT, which we then will let the community vote on what we're going to do with that. And that could be donating it to an art community. It could be monetizing it.
An exhibition at the ERL event.
Yeah. Yeah. It,
Why
it could
not?
be, it could be anything. And also the whole community could build off of this data. Like it's all there. So if we make a gallery and then you want to build an app that does something way better, like please go for it. But this is like this is a community project here. We don't want it to just be like about our show or whatever. Like we want everybody to have a say. We build something together. We can all use it together and everybody has a say in how that gets used.
It's to build trust. Trust me, bro.
Yeah, there
So,
you go.
having said that, we've got someone.
Yeah. So the last topic here, I wanted to talk about Cybershakti had 3 posts recently. They really struck me. 2 were on Twitter, but 1 was on Lens. And basically, there was a lot of discussion about incentives. There's a discussion about Lenster and how it's like a public good. And Cybershakti tweeted about, she's a founder and she knows that she has to use her product. And she was really going against, OpenSea and Blur about how they're not built for artists because those are built for investors. And I think that's one of those like super important topics that not enough people think about. And then she also posted about the royalty situation, the payouts from Twitter or X as it's now called, and why creators in this economy need to be paid and how it's validating to see all the other platforms start to pay the creators. And then she also had a post about her app Lenspost about the marketing and branding. And basically, we just wanted to bring her up and hear her side of things. And Cyber Shakti,
Yeah.
welcome. And
Yeah.
we just want to know, what are you building? What are the problems you see in this space? And what does your app solve? How are you trying to solve this?
Hey, GM.
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 GM, congratulations on the first show of Impro.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank
We
you.
really, really appreciate it.
I had such a great time and you guys put in so much heart and effort and research and thought behind this. I'm so enjoying myself. I could actually just go on listen to you guys.
Thank you. Well, we're here to listen to you. So what has been going on recently? What are you trying to solve with Lenspost? Because I think it's a really underappreciated app here. And I've seen a lot of people using it, and I think it is getting some good recognition, but I think it's still vastly underrated. So what are you trying to solve here, and what do you think the big issues are?
Sure. I'd be very happy to answer this. But before I, get into the specifics of what I'm building, I'd like to take everybody on a journey. Say 10, 20 years ago, people were still creating and they were using this wonderful app called Photoshop, right? And when Photoshop was sort of invented, um, the inventors themselves didn't know the amount of use cases that are going to come out. Everybody uses Photoshop in their own way, right? And it's helping a lot of creators to, use it uniquely as per their use case. What they did was they just built a wonderful infrastructure. Or maybe they started out with a single line brief that, okay, we'll help edit photos better. But then what they ended up creating was a powerful tool. But I feel a simple pencil is a powerful tool, right? You can do so much with it. You can scribble with it, or you can make intricate art with it. It's really up to you and how deep you sort of, vibe with it, I guess, you know. And I think we're in this era where, as an artist, we've been told over and over again that, hey, as an artist, you're supposed to be your own marketing team. You're supposed to be your own social media manager. You're supposed to be your own entrepreneur, right? And as artists, we just know how to make art, right? But all these other functionalities that are expected of artists, it's so difficult and overwhelming in this time and era. We keep hunting for different things to do. And then making a simple good morning shit post, I realized with my NFT, because I believe NFTs, are a huge part of Twitter conversation, especially about Web3 and digital identity, and PSPs are huge. These are essentially a front facing, this is how we trust people, right? Influencers have their own visual identity and they're socially signaling what NFTs they hold, right? All the time. And that is how you build your brand, you build your credibility in the circuit. And it's essentially just an expansion of who you are as a person, and you're lending a voice to that character. And you need to just keep up with so much, man, as an artist. And then life is not easy. We barely get paid. I mean, as an artist, we always have this underappreciated, contribution that we keep making to society. And we make up the culture and we make up the conversations. And What we do as an artist, we barely get paid. Sometimes even for freelance gigs, I mean, I'm sure everybody who's contributed as any sort of an artist has felt that sting of not being paid fairly or paid on time, you know. And it's just, we are in Web3. And why did we start out, right? And us as artists, we sort of, have this huge problem. We observe a lot. And from my observation and as my journey as an artist, I realized that I want to give back. And the way that I can give back is to help people communicate better. Now, I'm not saying my app helps you make memes. I'm not saying my app will help you use your NFTs as data to create from. Like your NFT, you can use it in so many ways, right? And one of the use cases is that you use it to make content, to establish your presence, say a GM, say a shit post, flex the NFT you have, or you can even remix that NFT, turn it into a meme. You can do whatever you like, right? It's your data. You owned it. You paid for it, right? And you own it. And it's also special. So I don't know if I've been able to sort of take you through this entire. Are you following me so far?
Just one question, and
Yeah.
it's based on a post from one of the greatest builders on Lens, Kwampi. He just posted a few days ago that he got 1 euro of revenue from X Twitter. What's your take on that? Are you getting any revenue from being on Twitter comparing
I,
to Lens?
I'm not actually, but we are getting paid on Lens, right? And what I basically want to help people is to use all that collects, make more posts, and get paid from it. You know?
Yeah, of course. And
And
we
rev-
can't do that. We can't do that on Twitter, right? Not comparing apps, but yeah.
Yeah, we cannot. We cannot. And honestly, like, I don't know how the hierarchy of the payouts work in Twitter. You need to have a certain number of clout already or, number of impressions, which means like you need to be able to beat the algorithm.
Yeah. Like 500 followers. I don't know how many impressions over the last 30 days and so on. And that doesn't reflect the quality, just numbers. So why do you say Lens is better?
Well, Lens is better because, hey, this is like utopia. I can actually share my thoughts. I can share media. I can share my art. And there is a community of people that's thriving and we are collecting each other's, social presence here. We are investing in each other, even if these are like, micro, tiny investments, right? But like with these amazing use cases we have coming, right? With ERC 6551, that like Lens wallet and other topics that sort of briefly touched upon, right? So, especially like, everybody is able to sort of collect each other and like, build like a build like a network effect really. You can actually own your content here. Like whatever you post, you actually don't own on Twitter. You know what can happen? Your presence can go away because it is a centralized platform. So
Yeah.
they decide your fate. They decide how visible you are basis how much you're performing, you know. And it's very difficult to fight that tide. But on Lens protocol, it's actually possible. And I think all of us, have like these deep conversations and engagements because it is such a nice, intimate setting as of now, right? And everybody, like even a smaller creator, has a very fair shot of getting visibility and seen by each other. Like, I love it here because, all these special connections that we're making, especially in the early days, right? It sort of sets the tone of how our experience is being built as we go.
Absolutely. And just to give a real quick live example, um, I had responded to Christina on Twitter because she had posted about, Apple is just now, we're in 2023, just now going to start revealing some metrics for podcast creators. And it's like mind blowing that like podcast creators don't know the number of views that they have or any kind of the metrics that are really important. They just don't know what they are. And so I had just responded about like, I'm about to launch a podcast here in 40 minutes and I'm going to know everything that I want to know, and even things that Apple and Spotify can't provide. And someone responded to that saying like, well, how are you going to track views? How do you track how many listeners you have from this decentralized thing? Now, I haven't responded yet, but I already know my response is going to involve my metrics. Like if I want to do it the old way, I can put it on like Amazon Web Service or whatever, and I could track the views the old way. But I'm not tracking the success of this podcast based on how many people are listening to it or paying attention to it. I'm tracking this podcast success based on what are we building? What is this art
Exactly. The outcome.
gallery that we're building? Right? How are we, like, what is the output of this? And so those are totally different metrics that I think people really aren't thinking about yet. And so I'm curious to hear what your metrics are. How do you define Lenspost as a success? Like what makes that a success for you?
For Lenspost, I think the biggest thing that we are focusing on is collaborations and collaborative content building. Whatever story you want to put out for the day, right? You share your templates and your designs, and people can actually come and iterate on it. Or you can actually use the connects that you have. And what basically how it fits into the whole infrastructure is that, hey, we have the Twitter version of Web3. We have the YouTube version of Web3. Now we got to build it up and fill it up with conversations and art. And like, for example, Jessie has this wonderful Barbie McDonald's cap presence, right? Imagine she has to put it up in Lenspost as a token gated publication, and whoever collects it gets the right to actually customize it and use it as a meme template, you know? And I think I also sort of tried making some Trust Me Bro memes on it. So essentially, where I was coming from is that this is kind of like Canva or Photoshop, but for Web3. Essentially, you can go crazy here. You can use it to make your daily shit posts and GMs creatively using all the NFTs you own, or you can actually natively upload files, make something that you want to share with people with easy sticker library that's like powered with CC0 assets that you can remix with. You have icon libraries, you have like Photostock, you have AI generator. Essentially, everything that you could need to publish in the era of Web3 is present there. And you can actually share it with people on Lens. And you can actually even attribute to creators that, whose work or templates you've used. So you can create collaboratively and you can incentivize people for it.
So then if we build a community collection here of artwork, and let's say we have 30 pieces of art, and then we transfer that to you, can people create with all of that collection there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can transfer it to us, or you can actually upload it yourself and add it to the public library. And then when people use those templates, they can actually get like a rev share if you choose to.
That's amazing.
Basically, it's fully connected, right?
Yes.
So can we store somehow these templates in our Web3 history, like in a wallet somehow?
There are 2-3 ways to actually get assets onto Lenspost. One is either holding that NFT, or you can actually upload it natively also, add it to the community pool, or you give it to us and we will make it as a, say like a folder with your brand name there or your community.
Wow, really?
Yes. So 3 ways of
That's amazing.
And like, so for example, we had a alpha testing partnership with this NFT community called Subducks. So essentially, Subducks had an occasion coming up that was their 2nd anniversary. So what we actually did was we collected all these stickers from them that they have actually used to make content and, posts over Twitter for all this time, right? And we uploaded them in the sticker library. So all their stickers is here. We also have a folder for lens stickers. We also have folders for 300 plus noun stickers. So imagine like you open up, it's like your walk-in closet, right? Like if you want to get ready, it's similar to how you make a post. To make just a simple post, you have all these steps that you go through, right? You find a background, you find a cutout image. We are powering everything. So you can use your NFTs to put in there and make like a GM post, or you can actually use your Lens collects and you can flex what your collects for the week are. You can actually make like an intro card for yourself. Hi, I am Ryan and I like photography or I like art. You know, it's a conversation starter.
That's incredible. I love it.
Can you make some art around this first Trust Me Bro show?
Yeah, if you go to my timeline right before the show, I made 2 memes, trust me, bro. You know, just with like what Stanley had posted. He wrote, like, trust these guys. So I was like, hey, this is like a great meme opportunity.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'll post it.
And the best part of this first one there, the one with the illustration, it's actually a sticker by another lens creator. So I can actually get custom stickers plugged in there.
That's
This-
incredible.
Yeah. And the problem that we are solving here is, of royalties and how artists are not attributed properly. We are fighting for that. So when you use somebody else's sticker, you can actually pay them back like a small percentage of whatever metrics you get paid for.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
really, this app is the thing that I keep pointing people to because to me it's very obvious that, your wallet has all this data. Like NFTs are just data. And it's like having like your own little, personal cloud in public. And I just feel like it's obvious that we're going to have so many apps that just use that data. And yet hardly anybody is doing that. And it's so nice to see you actually build this and it works and it's incredible. And it's like, it's exactly as it should be. It's doing everything with the proper accreditation and everything. Like, I'm just super impressed with this. You've really done such a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. This is just one way to, also sort of slightly, uh, pump your bags, like your community, your assets. So it's like multiple problems I actually wrote down on the board, right? Like, hey, what's wrong in artist life? What's wrong in the marketing issues that like brands face? And, the culmination or the baby or the brainchild with all these like, thoughts is actually Lenspost. And it took a while to sort of, put all this together. So we're really happy with how it's shaping up and, the wonderful
Yeah.
fact that people are sharing with us.
I remember that. Oh, I'm a very methodic guy. You remember our first call? It was like, so they've got a roadmap, they've got this and that and this and that. And you're like, guy, I'm just building shit. So hold on with that. And now I can see, you remember, it was like 2 months ago. And now
Yeah.
I'm like so grateful and proud of you that you've got so much more structure stuff putting together that, yeah, I'm so grateful that you are our first guest and thank you for what you are doing for Lens, for the Web3 in general, and for everyone because you are an amazing person.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being here. And you're definitely a leader here in what can be done, how people should think about building. And we're just super appreciative of everything that you're doing here. And especially, I mean, even aside from this, the whole open lens campaign was just brilliant. And I wish we had more people like you in this ecosystem.
Thank you so much. And I'm really excited for what all we can do together. And, great to see you guys sort of, keeping up the momentum with like, trust me, bro. Everyone excited.
Wow.
That's
Thanks for trusting us. Okay,
absolutely.
we are a bit over time, but do you think we still have time for the hidden gem segment?
Yeah. So what we want to do is we also want to have a hidden gem segment. So there's an artist named José Manuel Serrano, and I just pinned it to the space. It's Impro number 2, improvisation. And I won't play it here, but definitely check this guy out. It's very spacey. It has some happy and some dark undertones. It's a very interesting style of music that this man plays. But when I checked out his website and his biography and everything, it's astonishing, like how much this man has accomplished and what talent he has. And yet there's like no attention on him here. And I've seen that in my own personal life many, many times. Like I know tons of people who have tremendous talent and they have no following, they have no attention on them. And here it is. And we're all right next to this guy and he's doing great work and yet has no attention. So this is just my pick for the week. It's a very nice little improv video that he did of some guitar and he has some loops going on. And it's not too long, but if you have a chance, check it out and we'll put it in the show notes and everything else. But yeah, this is a segment that we want to keep pulling out hidden gems, things that perhaps people are missing and maybe get some attention on people that deserve it. And Jose Manuel Serrano is definitely one of those people. Yakuza, I think we are definitely over time.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah, we need to fine tune to everyone who has joined, and yeah, like I
yeah,
said, take it as a Tinder date. Ryan and I, we are just like getting to know each other. So hopefully our relationship will get better over time.
well said. I think we're all getting to know each other. And we just want to pull out who is creating on Lens and showcase them. And then hopefully that inspires other people to do the same, to build in this kind of style here. We're just building in public. I know everybody says that, but it's true. Like we're going to make mistakes. Not everything's going to be perfect. So we appreciate you guys for sticking around with us and paying attention here. I think we'll end it there, but I will say I still have half a beer left and the space will go until the top of the hour. So if anyone wants to come up on stage and discuss anything, that's great. If everyone wants to go
Yeah.
home, that's cool too.
Thank you for joining. Love you guys. And there's a lot of stuff to improve here, to build here, to support here. Your feedback is more than welcome. Your support is more than welcome. So that's a wrap. Thank you guys.
Thanks everyone.